If one were to look at a map of North America, the Great Lakes are an easily identifiable landmark. Spanning 750 miles from east to west, this collection of five large lakes holds the second largest amount of fresh water in the world. This translates to roughly 21% of the world's fresh water by volume. While all five Great Lakes hold an extreme amount of intrigue, inspiration on folklore, and even modern art, thank you, Gordon Lightfoot, the Great Lake of particular interest to us today may hold a living, breathing legend.
Lake Erie, the fourth largest of the lakes and the southernmost located, may give us its most interesting food for thought on today's topic, in that it's also the shallowest of all the Great Lakes as well. With summer wrapping up, it may concern some of you who have had the pleasure of boating, fishing, or partying on Lake Erie this past season to know that the lake's biggest secret could have been yards away from you, waiting for an opportune moment to rear its head again. Thank you for joining us this week on the Supernatural Tendencies podcast as we wade through the waters of another adventure. This is Alex.
And this is Christy.
And this is episode 10, The Lake Erie Monster.
The Seneca tribe have told stories of a monster that creeps around the Niagara River and into the depths of Lake Erie for hundreds of years. The first European sighting would come in 1793, when the captain of the sloop, Felicity, spotted a serpent-like creature more than a rod, 16.5 feet, in length. As we will eventually see, exact descriptions of the beast will vary over the centuries. In 1817, near Toledo, Ohio, brothers, known as Dussault, laid eyes on an animal 20 to 30 feet long, writhing on the shore. They said it looked like a sturgeon with arms. They ran to get a rope to tie it up, and upon returning, found it had vanished, leaving behind only dollar coin-sized silver scales. 1817 would also give us two other sightings. First, by Captain Schubel West and crew, aboard the schooner Delia. In July, they spotted a serpent creature 30 to 40 feet long, 5 miles from the shore. Not long after, another boat's crew fired muskets at a, quote, copper-colored monster, about 60 feet long, to no effect.
In July 1892, Captain Woods of the schooner Madeline saw another serpent-like monster writhing in the water. He said it had, quote, viciously sparkling eyes. He estimated the creature to be about 50 feet in length and about 4 foot in circumference. He also noted it having prominent fins. Crystal Beach near Fort Erie would see another monster sighting on May 5th of 1896. 4 witnesses watched a creature for 45 minutes with what they described as having a dog's head, a pointed tail, and being about 30 feet long. The 19th century history of the Lake Erie Monster would come to a close with an editorial bang from a story in the Sandusky Daily Register on July 8th. The story read that the monster's population had been verified and their existence can no longer be questioned. It would go on to describe the beasts as fierce, ugly, coiling creatures, 20 to 30 feet long.
The Lake Erie Monster wouldn't make headlines again until 1912. April Fool's Day, actually. The same paper as above ran a joke that a sea monster was smashing his way through a sheet of ice near Kelly's Island. Quote, coming toward shore, mouth agape and fangs displayed. Droves of people turned out on the shore of Sandusky to catch a glimpse of the coming monstrosity, which never came. A short note had said that in 1932, a specimen had been found but turned out to be a non-native python. Ken Golick, in 1960, said he had seen a cigar-shaped aquatic animal that raised its back 12 to 18 inches above the water's surface while fishing off the Sandusky Pier.
In 1969, Jim Schindler said something had breached the water's surface right beside him while fishing off South Bass Island. He couldn't tell the length of the thing, but he estimated the width of it to be about 2 feet. Teresa Kovac would be the next to describe a sighting of a monster that would now begin to go by the name South Bay Bessie. She would say that she had experienced a serpent-like creature big enough to capsize a boat off of the Cedar Point Causeway in Sandusky, Ohio. The idea of capsizing boats would surface again in 1983 with a sighting made by Mary Candle. While at Huron, Ohio's Rye Beach, she had seen an object in the water that appeared to be a capsized boat. She explains it to be about 40 to 50 feet long and was only mildly concerned until a long neck, with a head adorned with a, quote, grin going up one side, rose from the water. This would be the first description of the animal, as resembling the commonly held version of the Loch Ness Monster's plesiosaur body type.
In 1985, Tony Schill, who was boating offshore from Vermilion, Ohio, alleged that he had witnessed a dark brown serpent with a flat tail and showing 5 humps. By this point of Bessie sightings, there would be a popular theory that what people were seeing were actually lake sturgeon, a still-living prehistoric armored fish that can grow to impressive size, and not some mythical sea beast. Schill would insist that sturgeon were not what he saw. Later that same year, Dale Monroe watched a creature for 3 to 4 minutes near the Lorain, Ohio Coast Guard station. He asserts that it was as long as his 16-foot boat and goes on to describe 3 black humps that were visible.
The last evidence of the lake oddity in the 1980s came in June of 1989, when Gail Kastner produced a fish finder printout from boat owner Ken Smith that appeared to show a 35-foot object moving about at a depth of 30 feet. Susan Season reported a creature matching Bessie's description 2 miles offshore from the Cedar Point Amusement Park in Sandusky, Ohio, on July 8, 1990. This would be the first report of the 90s, but certainly not the last. Including Miss Season's encounter, 1990 would see a rash of sightings. Florida tourist Bob Sirocco would add his story of Bessie soon after. Sirocco would claim that he was jet skiing near Port Clinton, Ohio, when he spotted something that reminded him of a porpoise. He said the mass was spotted gray and had multiple humps protruding from the water. Quote, it was very long, and as I moved closer, it was going down. The next day, Harold Brickner called the DNR saying that a 35-foot creature had passed within 1,000 feet of his boat and his family while they fished near Cedar Point.
On September 11th, Huron fire inspectors Steve Dirk and Jim Johnson spotted something from a 3rd-story building that faced the lake that they estimated to be about 30 to 40 feet long and having 3 humps that were flat on top. Moving into 1991, fisherman Dennis Szynski claims to have seen a black creature swimming near one of Toledo, Ohio's water intake structures, 3 miles offshore in Maumee Bay. Up until this time, stories of sightings had spread across the area, eventually culminating in what would be described as monster fever in Huron, Ohio. Tom Solberg, a local marina owner, raised a reward for Bessie's capture worth $102,700 in cash and prizes, supplemented from a Lloyd's of London insurance policy that cost the local merchants $5,000 a year.
Limnologist and oceanologist Charles Herdendorf would propose a scientific name for the creature, Obscura Eriensis huroni, meaning rarely seen Lake Erie Monster, indigenous to Huron waters. City officials would proclaim Huron, Ohio, the National Live Capture and Control Center for the Lake Erie Monster. They would even go as far as to request a hunting permit from the DNR and build a holding pen labeled Future Home of the Lake Erie Monster. Continuing on in 1991, July would see the first possible footage of Bessie. George Rapice was vacationing on Kelly's Island when he videotaped some unknown object offshore for about 20 seconds. Companions said that they could barely see what was caught on the camera's zoom lens, so they could not be certain of what was seen. Some skeptics of the footage dismissed the object as a floating log.
Getting caught up in the monster fever, Huron resident Thomas Schofield built a 35-foot plastic and plywood replica of Bessie in 1994. He placed it at the mouth of the Huron River with a 300-foot leash to keep it in place. Unfortunately, it disappeared around the time of Schofield's death. It would eventually be replaced by his sons on Father's Day 2005 by a styrofoam version complete with glowing red eyes and a baby monster sidekick. In July of 1998, South Carolina tourist Leslie Regatas and several relatives watched a black three-humped object passing 500 feet offshore from Huntington Beach at Bay Village. Around the same time, young Earth creationist Carl Ball began to display the Erie Baby, a supposed juvenile lake monster, at his creation museum in Glen Rose, Texas. Ball claimed that he had bought it from a Cleveland taxidermist named Larry Pete Peterson, who had, himself, found the 3-foot specimen beached in 1992 and preserved it as an attraction for his bait shop.
Oftentimes, though, things are too good to be true. Researcher Glenn Kubin contacted Peterson and found that it was some kind of badly damaged fish carcass. Peterson, quote, decided to stuff it for an upcoming taxidermy trade show. He notched the long fin on its back to make it appear more dragon-like. Kubin speculated it to be a common burbot. As a side note, Carl Ball continued to promote the object as a throwback or an exotic unclassified eel. In 2001, Brenda McCormick and 2 other residents of Port Dover, Ontario, were attacked while swimming in the Lake Erie shallows. None of them could catch a glimpse of their attacker, but Dr. Harold Hinched, who treated all of their bite wounds, officially, quote, ruled out piranhas, lamprey, snapping turtles, and walleye, goby, and muskellunge fish, but did say that whatever it was a big honking fish, possibly a bowfin, but he couldn't be sure. He also concluded that by the stories of the attack happening so quickly that none of them had any time to react, that the attacks were, most likely, territorial in nature.
While strange sightings continue to trickle in, it's the myths of the creature that is most prevalent today. Possibly, most notably in minor league sports. Cleveland resident Daniel Gilbert, president and founder of Quicken Loans, purchased the defunct Utah Grizzlies AHL hockey team in 2006 and revived it in 2007 as the Lake Erie, now Cleveland, Monsters. Also, local brewing company, Great Lakes Brewing, offers their version of an Imperial IPA they have christened the Lake Erie Monster. And finally, locally popular rock group South Bay Bessie operates from their Flint, Michigan headquarters.
While at times sounding a bit like its Scottish cousin, Bessie has a story all of her own. With an impressive rap sheet for a relatively little-known cryptid, the Lake Erie Monster case stands tall in the pantheon of lake beasts. While alternative theories will be discussed, just remember, while cheering on the Cleveland Monsters hockey team to the next Calder Cup, or while sipping a Great Lakes Brewing Imperial IPA carrying the same name, or while enjoying the tunes of rockers South Bay Bessie, that Lake Erie may still have some stories to tell. It's hot again.
It's sweltering.
We were doing really good there for a while.
At what temperature does it actually turn from hot to sweltering? Like at 98, it's hot. As soon as you hit 99, bang, sweltering.
Isn't that on the person, though? To their own discretion on what they think it is? Because for me, it's like 69. I'm like, whew, whew.
That's crazy talk.
It's stupid. I need it to be like negative something for me to be absolutely comfortable.
I'm good at about 75.
No, I'm not.
If we could just have like a
No.
constant 75.
It's
72
terrible.
maybe.
Too much for me.
If I had a light sweater on.
Yeah. Nope. I need like constant Antarctic temperatures.
That's crazy.
Yep.
So what do you think about the whole Lake Erie Bessie?
I just want to say that I didn't do this, and I should have done it for today's show just
Darn right
because
you should have.
I have a Lake Erie Monsters hockey jersey. I should have worn, and I should have actually brought one of the Lake Erie Monster IPAs from Great Lakes Brewing.
I'm so disappointed in you.
I should have rocked both of those things for this episode. Even though you can't see it, you would at least know it. But as for the Lake Erie Monster, we've referred to this story a couple times throughout the episodes, rather, about the chupacabra and how much that was memorable for me as a child. This is a close second of things that kind of terrified me.
Really?
Yes. And I didn't include a lot of it. We just start out like this.
You were kind of a skirt as a little kid, though. I want to point that out.
Images bothered me, and I made images in my head that were way worse than in reality. But this one, because we had talked about the chupacabra in the Unsolved Mysteries video or show, that was creepy. And so it just solidified the image in my head. This one also has an image that I come to find out that a lot of people don't remember. And you may not remember it either. I'm not sure if you have it up on your monitor right now, but I brought it up. The Weekly World News, the tabloid. As a kid, going through the supermarkets and stuff, you always had the tabloids in the impulse buy area next to the register.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd have the bat child, or my husband was a zombie and I didn't know it, right?
Oh, Hillary had an alien baby.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of them was Lake Erie Monster. And they had a picture, and I'm going to give you the link so you can put it up later on. But this is an iconic photo to me, and you don't have it up, so you're just looking at me and not
I don't
the
have
picture.
it up right now.
All right, look it up and I'll keep talking. And it's the headline for it on this tabloid is Lake Erie Monster sinks sailboat, 3-page special. Photographs taken seconds before a 38-foot craft was snapped in half.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so as a kid, seeing this photograph, which now looking at it is clearly hoaxed, clearly faked for the front of the tabloid. I mean, don't get me wrong. As a kid, I knew, I can't remember exactly who explained to me what tabloids were, but it was not in any positive light. The kind of...
That's why you went through that period where you were scared to take a bath.
Probably.
Wow.
It was terrible.
I should have caught on.
So this is one of them. And like I said, once we get the links up, please go and look at this hilarious picture that scared me as a child.
Wow.
I did try to look up the story that accompanied this page, and I actually had done the research for this for a separate podcast I had thought about doing maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I thought I had found it, but I can't find it again. And what the story amounts to was that, and I'm not going to get it all right because it was kind of a long story. I think it was a 2-parter, but the second was there was a couple, an older couple, who owned a house in northern Ohio off Lake Erie, and apparently, if you go to a lot of these lakes, and you don't have to be on a Great Lake, you could be on just any decently sizable lake, and they kind of have these. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're cut-offs.
Oh yeah,
coming off the lake.
Yeah.
That have the properties lined up, and they each have their own dock.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a road for boats coming off the lake. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're all over up there. And apparently they had owned one of these properties that had this, kind of set up. And on their dock, they could see their boat or something. And apparently you can also see from their living room, you could see out and you could see the lake. And apparently they seen it, they seen the Lake Erie Monster coming in. And its tracked, its direction was coming right for their yacht. And so the husband just darted up off the couch to try to move the yacht or something.
Wow.
It had plowed into it or something like that. So I did not want to include that in the script today because I don't know how I feel about
seems a little
adding tabloid things into our scripts.
I don't believe that.
I'm trying my best to be serious about some of this, and to me some of these tabloids are not serious about what they do. So I wanted to make sure that we mentioned it because, like I said, this is what keeps the Lake Erie Monster reoccurring in my mind. Now that I'm 30 years old, but I didn't want to put it in the actual, fact citing section because the veracity of the claims made for most of these tabloids. I mean,
I'm gonna say that's a bunch of BS because okay,
Probably.
let's just for sake of argument here, let's just say that there is definitely a Bessie, a Lake Erie Monster, right?
yeah.
So like any large fish in the water or whatever, I find it hard to believe that this thing is just gonna swim la di da di da bam whammo right into somebody's yacht. You know what I mean?
Well, apparently it was more purposeful than that. It seemed more purposeful than just moseying along. Like he was going to break something, and he wanted to break that boat.
Like he was just pissed off.
Yeah,
and he was just gonna tear some shit
That
up.
boat looks like an ex-girlfriend,
Grr.
and he's just going to go after it, apparently.
See, I don't believe that.
Even if you don't believe that, which, don't get me wrong, I don't believe that, but it's still the thing that keeps this story alive in my mind.
Yeah.
On top of the local news station for Toledo, Ohio, which we live about 45 minutes south of, had done a small piece on sightings when I was a kid that I remember. And I don't remember a lot of it, though, but I remember it being on there that someone, it might have been one of the ones we've said today. I was born 1989, and I remember it. So I assume I would have been like, 6?
Probably, yeah.
So 1995-ish. I might have been a little older, but there was definitely a news piece done on sightings in Toledo. So I remember that, too.
We'll have to look that up and see what we can find on that and post it on the Facebook page.
Yeah.
And in the group.
It was the local station. I can't remember what it is. 13?
WTOL.
That's Lima.
Oh, no. WTOL's Toledo.
WTOL. Lima. No, it's Lima.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's Toledo.
WFIN,
Anyway.
it's Tiffin.
Do you want to throw down right now and we can fight? We can.
You just need to learn your network handles.
We're going to take a short intermission now.
I'll have to pause the recording.
And I'm going to beat Alex about the head and neck area profusely.
Well, like with most other cryptids, there's usually like a background kind of folklore, and there wasn't any real specific stories that I had found that I incorporated, just kind of like loose Seneca stories from the Seneca tribe, like I put at the beginning.
Well, yeah, and I was just going to say that's something that kind of always strikes me is, especially in this day and age with anything, things are easily faked, But I think especially when you look back to, back in history, the Native Americans, the Seneca tribe, I'm sure that they knew what was in their waters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, there wouldn't be that mystery of, oh, well, that could have possibly been a lake sturgeon, or something like that. No, I think the Native Americans would have known the difference, so I think that really speaks to possibly, maybe, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I will say, starting out, well, I shouldn't say starting out, coming off of the Seneca stories, is we mentioned it, I believe, like halfway through the narrative. At some point, the Lake Erie Monster fully forms from this serpent that kind of looked awesome to a plesiosaur like Loch Ness.
Exactly.
So you have this transformation of what it looks like in the sightings. And I don't want to get too far into Loch Ness because we were just discussing before we actually started recording this that I do have a full Loch Ness episode like ready to go. I just have to actually script it, but I have it ready.
Look at you on the ball.
Yeah. Again, previous research. So we kind of have the idea that we don't want to kind of, piggyback the same genre back to back, week to week. So I'm not sure when we'll be able to get that out. I guess technically we probably should have done that one first. But I had this one ready to go for this week.
We have so many interesting, really cool stories coming up.
Yes. So in connecting the two with the information provided, the same thing kind of happened, though, with Loch Ness, just in an earlier period.
Okay.
But by now... Sorry, go ahead.
No, do you think, since these sightings have changed, do you think they could be two separate creatures? Because like you said in the beginning, you have this more serpent... snake-like creature that's 15 or so feet long, but then later on it forms into a more
like dinosaur.
Yeah, and then reports of it being 30 to 50 feet long.
Yeah.
So could these be two separate things?
Yeah. I really want to give you my actual opinion on that, and I'm torn because that's kind of like the focal point of the Loch Ness story to
Well,
me.
then don't. Yeah.
So I don't.
That's like Christmas. You just
There-
don't
and
want to.
What's so interesting about it is this is human psychology that we're talking about, okay? And there is a point in time, an event, actually a movie that prompted a change.
Really?
And I don't want to go too far into it because that, like I said,
Don't you
that's
spoil it.
that's the focal point for Loch Ness. But yes, there is a tangible date when we start to see this change from more serpent, eel like animals, and then moving on to more of like a dinosaur, plesiosaur kind of thing. So I do have an answer for you, but I'm gonna retain it for now.
I know what it is.
What?
It's alien DNA.
That's the movie?
No, that's the cause of it.
The alien DNA. They injected alien DNA into snakes.
Yep.
And then they made them into dinosaurs.
Yep.
Okay.
No, I don't know.
Makes sense.
You're like, well, all right. I can buy that.
I like
sure.
straight answers. There's no frills.
I
That's
believe
it.
in Bigfoot. You don't got to convince me. No, for real, Bigfoot is real.
I've seen.
You know, like I won't even debate that with people. You know,
Yeah.
Do you believe in Bigfoot? Hell yes. Do you? No. Get out.
Okay, so I deliver medical equipment as a job.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't go into anything more than that. I'm not going to tell you anything more specific. But I drive all over Northwest and soon to be probably Central Ohio.
You seen a Bigfoot?
No.
Oh.
Not a real one. But what is
Not
awesome,
a real one. I saw a fake one.
Yeah, I did. That's where my story's going.
you
Stop.
didn't.
Yes, a fake one.
There's a fake Bigfoot in Ohio?
If you go up in Toledo, Ohio, right?
What?
I think it might be on Telegraph. Don't get me wrong, because I seen it in passing the one day. Don't even know where I was at the time because I was just taking left turn, right turn, left turn, right turn. But it's on one of the bigger, like Monroe,
Alexis.
Telegraph, Alexis. It's on one of those. I think it's like a masonry company.
No.
Yeah.
We're going to Toledo next week.
Yes. They might even make the gravestones.
Oh. Okay.
And they have like a 9-foot sculpted Sasquatch.
I want a picture with him.
Yeah. Not even 2 days later, coincidentally, I was behind a truck and he had this, he or she had this window sticker that looked like a footprint, but inside the footprint was like the Patterson Gimlin.
Oh, yeah.
It's like still frame cut out of it. I liked it so much that technically I had Tara make my own on her cricket because she was in her cricket phase. And so I have this t-shirt that we made of I haven't shown it to you. You're looking at me mouth agape.
I'm just wondering why I don't have a t-shirt with a cutout Bigfoot on it.
Yeah. It's like you see my Mothman shirt.
Yeah.
The one that we use for the promos.
Oh, the one that I don't have one of those either.
That I still don't understand why
Even
you
though I love Mothman, I don't have one of those.
I still don't understand why you blur out Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Well, because I thought it was a logo thing.
It's literally a
Like
geographical
a copyrighted
location.
logo thing.
If anybody here can give us an idea on the trademark rules regarding city names, we would love it because I'm devoutly standing that if I have a city name, it's a geographical location that you can't be nabbed by any trademark rules.
But if someone created that logo,
I created it.
oh well, then no. I didn't know that you had created
Yes,
it though.
and you blurred it.
But now I know that you created it and
Yeah.
that you didn't make me one.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's very true. Well, anyway,
On a side note here, we will be looking for a new host to co-host the show with me.
but I still
from
have
now
2
on.
awesome t-shirts.
And if you would like to apply for that position, just send me a Mothman shirt or a cutout Bigfoot shirt, and you will
I'll
be
have to send you
considered.
pictures. You haven't seen them,
I don't
seriously?
even want to talk to you right now.
You've seen the Mothman shirt for sure, but you haven't
Yeah.
seen the Bigfoot one?
No,
I have it at home. Yeah, it's I went to Walmart and I got one of the baseball shirts.
I wear a medium.
It's like a forest green interior on the torso, and then it's like a gray for the sleeves, like baseball
I
style.
like gray and green.
And yeah, it's got like a footprint, like a big footprint, and then in the middle is like a Bigfoot cutout, like a silhouette.
And you can send that T-shirt in care of the Paranormal Hypnotist, Ohio.
Yep, I'll have to show it to you.
So the level of disappointment that
But
I
that
have
one,
for
see-
you right now.
That one may be a trademark issue though, because technically I kind of ripped it off from the sticker. That I don't know if they had that trademark. I could. Well, no, because it's mine. I made it. I'm wearing the shirt. I haven't duplicated it other than the fact that I made a shirt for myself.
There's something shady about this whole thing. I'm not liking where
Blame
this
the
is-
cricket.
Wow.
Yeah. You know how many people get on those Facebook sites with the cricket, and then they make up like, look at this, I can make an Iron Man coffee mug. Do you want one for $55?
Well, yeah, but that's copyright
That's
infringement
straight up.
if you get caught doing that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm
I
saying. If I
mean-
made one for myself, it's not really that big of a deal. But if I start selling them,
It's like 190 years in jail and a $3 trillion fine.
so technically, if I made one for you, I could be going to jail.
Well,
But if I
I'd rat you out.
If I made
would.
it-
I so would.
if I made the shirt, wore it here, spilled something on it to which I had to change the shirt, and left that one here, then it's just mine at your house.
Well, yeah, and then I'd keep it.
Yeah. Either way.
Either way.
Back to the Lake Erie Monster. Given its own name, Bessie, South Bay Bessie.
South Bay Bessie.
Mainly because it was on the south side of Lake Erie. We only had one Canadian story that we had found. The rest were Ohio, which is where we live, and we are vouching that Ohio is just a weird place.
It is weird.
With weird people.
Oh, now you've offended all the Ohioans.
It's okay.
The Ohioites.
I think we have 80% of our listenership in Ohio, and I can guarantee that every single one of them would agree.
Oh, all right.
Yeah. The focal point for the story, though, is going to be mainly Huron.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the sightings
Yep.
seem to really center around Huron.
Yep, especially with the monster fever section, the portion of that. And then I haven't been to Huron to see if that's the styrofoam figure is still there. But the original plastic and plywood would probably be a sight to see.
That was a little bit crazy to me.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, okay, but like, building the whole holding pen
That's just,
and everything. Like, who paid for that? Like, that's just, like if that is tax dollars.
yeah, but you have to understand too that, like, especially up in Lake Erie, we're talking about like Put-in Bay, stuff like that. Like, it's a lot of touristy stuff. Like, you come out to your boat, you fish, you party, which is why I included it in the script.
Come out and see Bessie.
Come out and see Bessie. Yeah. So you have all these like restaurants and stuff that are right on the lake. So any way you can get people to come out and spend some money there. I mean, it's just kind of like going back to the Hodag. I mean, get people to come to Rhinelander, get
True.
people to come to Ohio. I think I don't know if they still use it, but what was Cedar Point's thing they would say when they locked into the roller coasters? Thank you for coming to Cedar Point. Ohio's rockin' roller coast. And they
Oh,
would,
yeah,
like,
I remember that. Yeah.
send you on your way.
Yeah.
So come to the rock and rolling coast and see Bessie. Do you agree with that at all?
I agree with that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
As for the veracity of the claims, I mean, technically, there are more sightings, more evidence of the Lake Erie Monster than there are for Loch Ness.
Really?
Yes.
Do you think that's just because it's a smaller area? Or,
Wait, Lake Erie is smaller than Loch Ness?
I believe, isn't it?
It's for sure much more shallow.
Oh, I thought Loch Ness was actually pretty big.
I don't think it's as... I think you... No, because if you stand on one side of Loch Ness, you can clearly see the other side.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Now,
I
it
guess
is
in my mind it was small. Or, I mean,
large.
big.
But no, you can stand on one side and see the other side, but it's super deep.
Oh, yeah.
Much deeper than the average Lake Erie, which I think is like 30 to 60 feet. It's really not that deep, but it's pretty expansive.
And I know we didn't say anything about it, but Lake Erie is not the only lake that is rumored to or reported to have some type of mysterious sea creature.
With the Great Lake? The Great Lakes?
Yeah.
Which other one?
Because you have Lake Champlain.
That's not a Great Lake.
Well, isn't it? I thought it was.
Are you serious right
Yeah.
now?
Are you sure?
Oh my God, you just hurt my heart.
Wow.
You don't know all 5 Great Lakes.
No. Well, I never really had a reason to learn. But it's, it's still in the general area, so we're still going to count
You don't know
it.
the acronym HOMES.
No. You and your acronyms.
That's something they teach you in school. Did you not go to school?
They didn't teach us that.
What did they
in
teach you? How
school.
not to die? Just don't
Well, no,
die.
actually, I think we learned that in band.
What?
Band or
the
music.
Great Lakes?
No, the whole acronym thing. We never learned anything like that.
What acronym thing did you learn
If
in
we
band?
did, I would know the Great Lakes.
Okay, let's
Duh.
skip this. You will know the Great Lakes right now by the acronym
All right, just spill them.
HOMES.
Huron.
Ontario. Michigan.
Oh, Michigan, yeah.
Erie. Superior.
Oh, wow. See, I thought Champlain.
Champlain
was.
is nowhere near one of the 5 Great Lakes. You're killing me.
You're really fired now.
You're
really
I'm getting fired up that you don't know the names of the 5 Great Lakes that you live literally, a half hour from.
I don't go that way.
Oh my, you never go north, you just go south.
Wow.
Canadians are getting angry with you because that's what separates us, our immediate area. quit knocking around your microphone, please.
You're going to stop yelling at me today. I do not have to take this abuse.
I feel like I need to spell everything out now that you don't know that you thought Lake Champlain was a great lake.
I can't wait till next time you say something stupid. I'm just going to dwell on it for the rest of the show.
I'm jumping on this and I'm clinging on, baby.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's bring Daryl in here. I bet you he thought Lake Champlain was a great lake,
Oh, my
too.
God. We wouldn't want to get into it.
He would be like, what is it I'm thinking of? No, New Hampshire. Remember that whole thing, New Hampshire?
Oh, New Hampshire, yeah.
Daryl, it's New Hampshire. No, it isn't. It's New Hampshire. All right. Not even going to go there. Not even going to go there.
Oh, man. So if we're going to go with other lake monsters in North America, not in the Great Lakes, yes, Lake Champlain with Champ. And then in Canada, we have, is it Ogopogo?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that one. Yep. Yeah.
I think there's like 2 more up there, but I can't remember right offhand what they are. Like 2 more fairly well-known ones. We'll have to look that one up.
So that's, like I said, that's one of those things where, okay, now in modern times, yeah, something like this is easily faked. Just kind of like with the whole UFO thing. CGI and all of that. But you dive into these cases and you go back into, the 1600s, these people that were on these boats and spotted these, these were people who made their living on the lakes and the seas and all of that, so they would, if you spotted something unusual, it would really be unusual. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, look at all the things that today that you know of that are way less unusual than how they were described. Like when, like mermaids, and then maybe I'm pulling this without having all the information. The idea of mermaids
being manatees.
See,
I'm not buying that whole story. I really just
because you can't see how a manatee could be mistaken for a woman with a tail.
I mean, they're cute. Don't get me wrong, manatees are cute.
Yeah,
but you're in no way going to mistake a manatee for.
But is that a double standard? Is that
half woman, half fish?
Is that a double standard for you to say that you don't see how that could be mistaken, but like they were spot on with giant squids?
I'm just not buying it.
Technically, though, like they're not doing anything special with the giant squid. They're saying it's like a squid, only really big.
Only really big.
Yeah, so that could be. But let's go in, and that's a good segue, though. Let's go into the most popular theory, which is all the sightings of Bessie are actually lake sturgeon. Okay?
Yeah.
If any of our listeners have no idea what a lake sturgeon is, I will put a link up, or I'll give you, because you do that end of it, I'll give you one. They do
look prehistoric.
They do. They can get very, very large. If you are in the Great Lakes, I'm not sure outside of the Great Lakes, if you catch a sturgeon, it needs to immediately go back.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no keeping it. If you kill it, you could still be in trouble. Like, they're pretty stringent on sturgeons when you catch them.
Protected.
They are armored. They have, 3 rows of tines going across their back. I don't think they can really damage you, but they
remind me of like crocodile.
Yes, but
kind of skin.
It's like if you could mix a crocodile with
a turtle.
What are those sucker fish that you put to clean your fish tanks?
Placosmus.
Sure, I'm gonna
algae eaters.
Algae eaters, yes, that's what they look. They look like a huge algae eater, but with armor.
With armor, yeah.
They're pretty badass looking.
But still, again, nothing that could be considered like a serpent. No, and certainly,
if you get them big enough, and especially during spawning, they kind of group together. So the theory is that you have like a pod. I don't know if that's what they're called, but like a pod of sturgeon, maybe 3 or 5 that are swimming in a line. Those are your humps, and they can get pretty darn big. Like we're talking, I think the European version, I have heard up to like 18 feet and 4,400 pounds.
Oh wow!
Now I don't think our lake sturgeons get that big.
No,
but still. If you had a few of them swimming in a row. Now, couple that with the fact that lake sturgeons, especially pre-1900, I believe, were so populated in the Great Lakes that they were like a nuisance. So whenever the steamships would come through, they would catch them and chuck them into the boilers because they were so plentiful. They were so big and hardy, chuck them into the boilers, and it would fuel the ship to go.
Huh.
So after that kind of abuse, fishing, I'm not really sure if they would be good to eat. At some point, they probably were.
I've never heard of anyone eating lake sturgeon.
Yeah, but we're talking 200 years ago.
Yeah.
That they've become almost, I wouldn't want to say extinct. They're definitely endangered. They're to the point today, I'm not sure if they're endangered.
Yeah.
But there is still a very tight grip by the Department of Natural Resources in keeping them keeping them
See,
going.
but my problem with this though is I can't remember what year that was, where the woman and her relatives were attacked.
Yeah.
Lakes, that's not typical of a lake sturgeon. They're not going to attack humans.
No, and I don't remember the day on it, and I don't have my notes to bring up, but that is okay. And I don't want to talk myself out of this because I love cryptids so much. But technically, 90% of the cases we brought up today were in the same month.
Really?
Most of them were in July.
In July, huh?
Can you guess when spawning season is for sturgeon?
In July. So
Ish.
could that be?
We're talking late summer, and 90% of our sightings are in July.
So that is a compelling, that lends some serious credence to that theory.
Yeah, so if we're going to go with your idea that that's not normal lake sturgeon behavior, you're totally right. Sturgeon don't do that. But this was the only story that we have that's in Ontario, which is across the lake.
Yeah.
You cannot see Canada from Ohio. So it's pretty far away.
Yeah.
We're in Port Dover. I couldn't tell you exactly where that is because Ontario is a pretty big province. So I don't know if it's on this side, us by Detroit, or if it's all the way over by New York. But that's completely separate habitat. So to me, that sounds like a different fish, technically.
Yeah.
So, and it breaks my heart to have to bring that up. Because like I said, 90% of the sightings that we've found today, and I've looked over, this research is actually compiled from like 4 different books that I read. Most of them are in July.
Huh.
And I do believe, if I remember right, that's partial sturgeon spawning season.
However, though, well, see, I really don't want to say this, but in comparison, like I was saying, with the same type creatures being reported in Loch Ness, Lake Champlain, I won't ask you if you think the same thing could be going on there, but that just seems odd to me. It really seems.
Let's put it like this though. Some things to humans are archetypal. Okay. Should I explain what archetypal means?
Well, you might as well.
Okay. The idea of an archetype is like a common idea that humans have formed that is expansive across space and time in history. Okay. For example, the idea of a pyramid. As of right now, it's an archetypal idea. Until we come up with some type of situation where we have like a Pangea issue where this Earth had one continent with one group of people who all did the same thing. As of right now, we have people in Central America who made pyramids. We had people in Egypt who made pyramids. It's the same kind of design that is just the way humans see fit to do something. So in that case, it'd be how to build a pyramid. The idea of an archetype is the same idea applied to things that are reoccurring throughout space and time that in theory should never have come in contact with each other.
Yeah.
That would be an archetype.
Okay.
So a reoccurring archetype in this fashion would be the idea that there are monsters in the water because you can't see in the water. We're not meant to really be in the water.
Correct.
So that's why we have boats. That's why we have technological advancements in traversing the water, because it's been like the first real big hurdle for humanity was to get across that body of water, right?
Yeah.
So since we're not supposed to be there, it already feels kind of
Foreign
odd. Yeah, it feels foreign to us already.
Mysterious.
Then automatically there's going to be some uncertainty, and that uncertainty is usually caused by something. And if you don't see that something, then it's probably
a boogeyman.
It's a monster.
Thing.
Yeah.
I am terrified of the water.
Yeah, they're. I think that's probably one of the highest phobias would be of water.
Oh yeah,
like large bodies of water.
I'm terrified of sharks.
Yep.
I'm terrified of. I'm trying to think of that. You know that one creepy looking fish that has like the
angler.
The anglerfish.
Anglerfish.
And you know what? Like I thought my whole life that this anglerfish was roughly the size of your hand.
Yeah.
No, have you ever seen one?
No.
They're flipping the size of a TV.
Are they really?
They are massive.
I didn't know they were that big.
Yeah. So you imagine with the teeth and the big and the no.
Yeah.
That just can you imagine coming face to face with something like that?
No.
Or a moray eels really scare me.
Really?
Or those electric, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, those just terrifying to me.
Yeah. There seems to be a different type of fear response between predators, especially for humans, right?
Mine is puke and pass out.
Yeah, well, I mean, difference between like things on land that you should be afraid of as opposed to things like in the water. Like, things in the water seem so much different.
Well, because
it's so much more fear-inducing.
On land, you could run. You have the option of running. If you're in the water,
Like, you're...
you could swim, but
Yeah,
this
that's
thing
true.
lives in the water, so it's going to be able to swim and
It could do it much more efficiently than you ever could.
You're a goner.
Yeah.
You know.
That's true. So that could contribute.
So I think that, and then the water's dark.
Yeah.
Like when you get real deep in water. I don't know. It just really...
as opposed to being outside or something in the dark, you can make a fire and see. You can't do that in the water.
And then we have obvious weaknesses with water. We can't breathe underwater.
Yep.
You know,
That's
there's
true.
that. So it's just a lot of different things going on at once. And
yep. So now we have this magnet of
no thank you.
Of mystery and a fear-inducing situation that is large bodies of water. So in my mind, that's kind of why we see a lot of lake monsters and stuff like that. But now you further that archetype in that it's usually in the form of a serpent, or it looks like, and now we have this technically more modern view that it looks like this dinosaur or a plesiosaur.
Yeah.
And like I said, I kind of can't wait for the Loch Ness episode, because there is a defining moment when that happens.
But, you know, honestly, I can't remember what the exact percentage is, but about how we know more about space than we do about what exactly is in our oceans.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, so that's really crazy to me.
Yeah.
You know, like what could be down there? You know, but you absolutely, you can't rule it out, because I think it was like 6 or 7% or 3%. It's some really number like that.
Yeah.
But so can you only imagine what is down there that we don't know about?
That's true, but at the same time, especially with like the oceans, the farther down you get, the more and more different everything becomes.
Oh yeah.
Not just with like the animal life or plant life, but also how that animal and plant life have to survive.
Yeah.
And how they most likely can't transition beyond a certain point.
True. They can only come up so far. Like
because
if they're at the bottom, they stay
at the bottom.
At the bottom.
If you're at the top, you stay at the top.
Yeah.
So even if we did find something crazy, we're most likely not going to find a Bessie down where we're going to find anglerfish.
I don't want you to convince me that Bessie is not real.
I don't want to either. I know.
So just shut up.
I know. So for now, in my again, and I will probably say this over and over, but I tend to trust older, more native stories about folklore and animals and stuff, just because they're more familiar with the area. But also, those same people also tended to mix. Also tend to mix their folklore with real living things, and then also mythological things.
Yeah.
And that's what people do.
Because, well, you have to remember, too, that, you know, they didn't have cell phones and computers and TVs and video games back then. You know, that's what people did, was you sat around and you told stories. Mm-hmm. Well, if you told a boring story, nobody's going to want to listen to you.
Yeah, it's true.
So we got to kind of zing it up a little bit.
Yep.
You know, could this be a case of that? Could be.
Yeah.
Just like with anything.
Yep, so going in that direction, if there is a South Bay Bessie, I would almost put money that it doesn't look like how you would assume the Loch Ness Monster looks. If anything, it would just be like a giant snake of some kind.
Possibly.
And if there's a giant snake that big,
I'm not going in the water.
I'm not going up there anymore. That's dumb.
Agreed.
Do you have any other thoughts on this?
I'm still just blown away by the whole holding pen thing.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that's a waste of money.
It's a really big gimmick.
Wow.
Besides the insurance policy for the reward.
I know. I couldn't even believe that.
Yep. It's all just a big gimmick to get people to come up there, man. Like, even if it's not real, even if you know for a fact it's not real, you're still going to play into it.
You want to go?
Get people come. I go up there every week.
You'd go up there every week? Or you do?
I do.
You do go up there every week. Yeah.
I make rounds. I make my deliveries up there.
Get the backpack.
Yeah.
I'm going to need a pair of Crocs.
Right now, though, I don't think it's too great. Is it Portland or Sandusky where they've had the rise in the lake?
Oh, the algae blooms and everything? Oh.
That's a separate issue. But we had those storms a while back that just pounded the beaches.
Oh.
And it was eroding them away.
Oh,
so now they've had some issues with certain types of flooding because of the erosion caused by the combination of those two things.
Oh, no.
Last time I was up there, it was all right, but I'd heard they were having some pretty big issues with that.
Well, we'll put it off for a little while.
Yeah, we can still go to Toledo.
Yeah.
Put them on me.
I seriously want to get a picture of me with that Bigfoot statue.
Yeah, I'll have to remember where it was, though.
What is his arms doing?
I think they're just down on the side, like in a walking
Oh
thing.
man, I wish they were like this, because I would seriously, for real, like climb up there and be like,
Like if they were in like a cradling position for you to be held by
yeah.
Bigfoot like a baby,
Oh yeah, we'd be going to jail that day.
or like a newlywed couple.
Yeah, would
Yeah.
that be funny as hell?
Yeah, it was really big though, because like I said, I was driving and I was looking around like oh, and I saw it like out of the corner of my eye. I seen it as I passed, but it's on one of the bigger roads.
We should yeah, you're gonna have to take me up there.
While I'm working or on a
Like,
weekend.
Let me tell you what we do. Okay, are you ready for this? Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Huh.
I don't know. I think that about wraps this up. The thing with this kind of episode is that it's going to be a lot of date after date after date after date.
Yeah.
Because of the sightings and stuff like that. And especially with the Lake Erie Monster, like I said, technically I keep hitting my cord. I'm sorry. I keep hitting my cord.
I'm sorry.
I'm probably not going to be able to edit that out. So I keep hitting my cord. Technically, as opposed to the Loch Ness Monster, the Lake Erie Monster does have more sightings of what could be. Now, whether or not the actual things that people are seeing are sturgeon, are just blogs or something, that's neither here nor there if you're just kind of trying to compile a bunch of, sightings.
But if you're in the area,
If you happen to be in the area, and I can add this into shameless plug, the Toledo Walleye, we're filming a new video for their home games, and my family got to be in there.
yay!
We went there 2 weeks ago. I took the kids up. So if you ever in the Toledo area and you catch a walleye game down there at the Huntington Center, you may be able to see me and the kids in their videos.
How awesome is that?
I love hockey. I love hockey.
Yeah.
So that was amazing, especially being as close as I am to Toledo hockey history. That was great to be involved in the history. So
That's awesome.
Yep. So other than that,
To throw in another plug, if you haven't already and you are a fan of everything paranormal, extraterrestrial, and unsolved, mysterious, what other words can I throw in here? But if you love all of these things as much as we do, be sure to jump on over to Facebook and join our private group. Oh, no, I guess it isn't private now, is it? No.
nope.
Oh, join our group, the Supernatural Tendencies podcast group. You'll find lots of videos and information, lots of really cool topics posted.
We do daily stuff.
We do, yes,
Daily posts
lots and
on there.
lots and lots of interesting, cool stuff.
Yep, it's a real active group, so if you spend a lot of time at work on the toilet, we'll have something for you to read.
Wow.
If you're going to get paid for pooping and you're going to be on Facebook anyway, just join the group because we're going to have a lot of stuff for you to read.
I'm not going to promote that.
I just did.
But I do want to say, though, that I am so excited because we are in the process of lining up a lot more video and live content.
We're hoping to.
Yes, for
we got some ideas coming down the pike.
Yes.
That we're going to try to establish and set up.
As soon as possible.
Yep, we had kind of discussed it at first. It may be just kind of sporadic here or there special events. But after, we need to get behind the scenes work, some legwork in behind the scenes.
We are going to get lots of really cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, and hopefully get more regular in these special things that we have planned. And once that happens, we maybe a lot more content audio and visual wise coming out as opposed to just all of our, what do we have there on the group? The creepy or cool?
Creepy or cool. We do that.
Yeah.
We do different polls, different information, telling about different
yeah, like how do you feel about the farting ghost of Santa Barbara?
There is no farting ghost of Santa Barbara.
There has to be a farting ghost somewhere. There has to be a farting ghost somewhere.
Stop. Did y'all hear that?
Yeah. Farting Susan.
Farting Fred.
Farting Fred.
Farting Fred. But yeah, definitely jump on over, join our group.
Yep, spread the word about for other people who may enjoy it as well.
Go in and invite literally every friend on your friends list. We'd be so appreciative and send you our undying eternal love.
Yes. Also, I have one last plug that no one knew I was going to do besides my friend Jacob. So Jacob has a significant other. Her name is Brittany Stickney, who works at a place, let me look it up here, called Elements Massage in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Oh, that would be heavenly.
So if you happen to be close to Fort Wayne, Indiana, heck, if you're not close to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and you want to fly in, do it. Brittany is amazing.
It's going to be worth it.
Yep, she does medium pressure. Come on. Does medium pressure, hot stone, cupping, and prenatal massage. I hear she's amazing.
That would be awesome.
I refuse to let her touch my pasty white body that's kind of reminiscent of a doughboy.
She wouldn't want to anyway.
I would imagine not. She's a very nice person, but she does have a line, so that's fine. But for you, she would do it for you. So if you are ever in the area, again, Elements Massage, there in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Give her a shout.
Give her a shout out,
She'll be happy
please.
to take good care of you.
She might be embarrassed to know that I have said her name, Brittany, on this podcast, and tens of people have heard it.
Hi, Brittany. Hi, Jakey.
There you go. Think that's about it for today?
Alrighty.
We'd like to say thank you one more time for hopping on board with us this week. If you have any comments, questions, critiques, or suggestions for new topics, please send us an email at supernaturaltendentiespodcast@gmail.com. We also encourage you to go over our Facebook page at Supernatural Tendencies Podcast, and go ahead and just smash that like button if you would. We are also available on Instagram if that's more to your liking. Please pass us around to your friends as well, where they can find us on Podbean, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, and most other major podcast platforms.
And remember, if you're having any type of paranormal activity or extraterrestrial contact, I offer private coaching online via Skype or Facebook Messenger to assist you with those issues. Feel free to visit me at ChristyJohnsonSadler.com for contact information.
Till next time, this has been Alex.
And Christy.
See you later.